Welcome to the Offshore Club's fun-filled, fact-filled, fast-paced blockbuster podcast, Roving with Rachel, coming to you straight from beautiful Belize, where the sun never sets on the good life at a great price. And now, here is your brand new BFF, Rachel Jensen.
Hi everyone, Rachel Jensen here. In today's episode, we're going to talk about the top 3 things you should know before you move overseas. So these are experiences and lessons that I learned during my time abroad that I wish somebody had told me when I was looking back on it. And, thinking back on when I first moved abroad, I really didn't know anybody who had moved full time. I did study abroad. I knew other people who studied abroad, but I really didn't have a good idea or have any friends or family members who took that plunge at some point. So I felt like, in a sense, I was going through it alone. I was going through these experiences by myself. I didn't really have anybody that I could talk to back home about how I was feeling during the move overseas or what I should expect when I relocated to another country. So I wanted to consolidate the top 3 things that I learned from moving overseas. The top one is just to remember that the move doesn't have to be permanent. I understand that moving to another country, whether you're selling everything that you have in your home country or perhaps putting it in storage, just remember at the end of the day, it's incredibly brave of you to even be making the move to another country, but always remember that if something doesn't work out, you're able to go back to your home country or check out a new place. Sometimes you think you want to relocate somewhere because maybe you've been there on vacation, but when you get there, it's not quite what you expect, or maybe you're just not really enjoying the culture, or who knows what the case may be. But do know that it does not need to be permanent. You have the decision to be where it is that you want to be. The second point is also that you are the one responsible for making the experience what you want it to be. Now, I've met some expats who want to stay in their expat bubble. They've met other expats who live in the new location. They've immersed themselves into that expat location, to that expat community. Then I have other friends who are friends with primarily locals, and they wanted to get in on the local culture, and that was one of their big reasons for moving. For me, I have a good balance of both. I have my expat friends who I can talk to when things are getting a little crazy or I'm feeling a little uncertain about my life overseas. But then I have my local friends who help me to understand more about their culture, who introduce me to new things that I may not have tried before. And I probably took it one step too far, but I did end up dating a local here for a while, which was actually really quite an incredible experience because I learned a lot that I wouldn't have if I didn't have a local boyfriend at the time. And even just learning how to cook some of the Belizean foods I thought was really quite fun, or learning some of the local hotspots to go to restaurants or places to visit within the country, renting a car and going to these different locations within Belize that I just simply wouldn't have done before because I didn't have friends who had that experience in this country. So learn how to make the most out of what you have. Learn how to make the experience your own, because everybody is moving overseas for a different reason. And yes, we may have some very similar overlapping reasons. At the end of the day, you want to feel comfortable. You want it to feel like it is home for you ultimately. And the last point that I want to remind you is, please understand that when you're going to another country, you're moving from the culture that you know and moving into a new one. And so you have to remember patience is key. Patience really is critical. And at the end of the day, really try to take a step back from being judgmental. I've heard so many Americans who come to Belize, and whether they're sitting at a restaurant or a dive shop or on a tour, they go, well, in the States, it's not like this. Or if this was America, we would have gotten our food already. And take a step back and realize that you're not in your home country. You are somewhere where they're doing things differently. And maybe for you, that's one of the reasons you are looking at moving overseas or spending time in another country. But it is really important for you just to understand that it is going to be different. Life is going to challenge you. Your time in the country may not be all butterflies and rainbows. There are going to be challenging times. There are going to be times you're pulling your hair out and so incredibly frustrated. And maybe it's because you're going to a place where they speak a different language, or you're going to a place where they don't have your favorite recipe or your favorite food that you really like. And you're going to have days like that, and it's okay. But at the end of the day, whether you're a journaler or whether you like to talk to somebody about what's going on, all of that is going to be important to make sure that you have an incredible time, an incredible experience. And like I said, going back to that first point, it doesn't have to be permanent. At least you are taking that plunge. You are taking that step to go somewhere where most people just truly are too afraid to do it, or always have some reason why they aren't able to. Find the reasons why, do it, have an incredible time. You're going to meet really great people, do things that you never would have done before. Just really experience the life, the culture, everything in this new location that you're going to. And I promise you, you'll find so many reasons why it is worth going overseas. All right, everybody, that wraps up our tidbit here, and I hope that you enjoy. We'll see you next week.
For more information on the Offshore Club or to contact Rachel Jensen, visit www.offshore.club today. www.offshore.club. That's www.offshore.club. See you next time at the Offshore Club.